James Russell. I'm president of the Whaling Museum, and I'm so glad you could come to see the Benjamin Russell art show. Just to clear up any matters, we're not related in any fashion whatsoever, although I wish we were. About a year ago or so, the mayor invited Dagny Ashley and myself to co-chair the Morgan Steering Committee, and it was a great honor to do this. And we've been working very hard, and Jeff Steeb and Christina Connolly and Dagny, we meet almost every week to keep pushing this effort along, and we're going to hear a lot more about that story over the next few minutes, over the next hour or so. But today is a very special day because in order for the Morgan to come here, I guess we had a choice. We could either welcome this great ship in a small fashion, or else really push this event to the limit and showcase New Bedford Harbor in all its glory. And in order to do that, we needed to raise money, and we had set a budget and a goal of $500,000. So we're delighted to announce at the press conference today that we have already exceeded $400,000 towards our $500,000 goal, and I want to thank everybody in the room for getting us to that. We were very fortuitous not too long ago for one of the best fundraisers in the region to retire. And Barbara, if you could just stand up for a moment and take a bow. Barbara Mulville, whom everybody knows, who has done an outstanding job at getting us. And you can all see the list, and if the camera could spend a little bit of time on this list, because the number of donors who are supporting this event, everywhere from the city, taking the leadership spot at well over $100,000 in its commitment, to private industry, to individuals stepping forth. We're absolutely going to make this a magnificent occasion, which will be spanning the 28th of June all the way to July 6th. So it's the longest stay. And Chris Cox from Mystic Seaport will be saying a couple of words after the mayor, letting us know, maybe you could let us know if the boat is actually leaving Mystic, which it will be this Saturday, we understand, and working furiously. The decision by the trustees at Mystic should never be understated. Here is a capital project of over $10 million. And come on in, guys. These are our apprentices at the Whaling Museum, all from New Bedford High School. We're so proud of them. All getting ready to go to college this year, next year. The decision by the trustees at Mystic shouldn't be underestimated. To take your major asset, to invest $10 million in it, and then to let it go on a road show for the better part of a month or so is very magnanimous. And the fact that it's coming into New Bedford for the longest stay after it goes to Newport, Martha's Vineyard. And by the way, Tom Gelstorp, I think Gelstorp from the Cape Cod Centennial Committee is here today, and the Morgan will be going to down to Bourne after it goes to Boston, and it's spending more time in Massachusetts than Connecticut, which is terrific. So we want to make sure that this homecoming celebration, this boat, which was built in 1841. It left New Bedford just before Pearl Harbor in 1941, and then the curious juxtaposition of the 4 and the 1. It's coming back here in 2014, is going to be a terrific occasion. We're expecting over 50,000. It's hard to project the number of people, but with the heavy promotion, and I hope you've all seen the advertisements that we're getting well outside of a 50-mile radius in the Boston, New York markets and national markets, promoting this, that we're hoping to brand the city in a very, very positive way. We're hoping that we can tell people that New Bedford Harbor is open for business, and not only for commercial, but also for pleasure. We're hoping that there's a huge amount of civic pride which is generated by having this homecoming. And finally, we want to make sure that we can manage this event and stick the landing, and that's going to happen because of the work that you've all done here. So we've got some, what we're going to do here is, Mayor, you'll say a couple of words here, or more than a couple. And then Chris Cox will say a couple of words, let us know what's going on down at Mystic. We've got some check presentations, but the first thing we're going to do is, Mayor, I'm going to give you print number 1, because we are looking to auction this great original painting by Arthur Moniz, who's here in the audience. Arthur. Mayor, this is number 1 of 25, and this is to hang in your office, we hope, or home. This is print number 1 by Arthur, and we're going to hand out a few more of these throughout the course of the ceremony today, but please give a hand to Mayor Mitchell, who's making all this happen. Mayor
Mitchell. Well, this is spectacular. You know, I don't expect anything less from Arthur. It will, for the record, in case anyone from the Federal Bureau of Investigation is here, this is over the gift limit, so I accept it as city property, not my personal property. It will not be hanging in my home, but nevertheless, it'll be proudly displayed in City Hall in a very prominent place. So thanks for this, Arthur. As usual, fantastic work, and I hope it goes for a bundle. I hope all the prints in the original go for a bundle and raise great money, but more than anything, contribute to the memories of this fantastic occasion. We are. I guess you could say we're sort of, to use a football analogy, we're in the red zone now. We've driven down the field, lots of hard work along the way, some setbacks, but now we've really got a head of steam going. And it's a tribute to the hard work of lots of folks, some of whom James has mentioned, but it's also a tribute to the energy that has been bubbling up in the community in great anticipation of this event. And I think James summed it up really well. I mean, this is a multifaceted, singular event in the life of our city. And I've at times likened the return of the Morgan as sort of the return of a ghost to the city. And you know, the Morgan has taken on a symbolic importance in our collective imagination, in the sense that, you know, I remember as a kid for years, and you still hear it, that people say, well, if we only had not lost the Morgan, right? So you still hear that. If only that didn't happen, New Bedford's fortunes would have been much different. Now, it's a bit of an exaggeration. I mean, New Bedford's, you know, suffered decline and economic contraction for reasons far beyond its control, having to do with, you know, world financial markets and labor costs and all kinds of things. We can debate what matters most, and it probably isn't the fact that the Morgan left, but it meant a lot to people. And it really was an emblem of a glorious past here that you know, left, that in certain people's minds left when the ship left. So this is, in a way, its return is a bit of a redemption for the city. It is a way of making amends with the past. What we're trying to do now as a city is to build a new future, not one that is glorious, but one that is not identical to the past. And we're doing it in a number of ways and trying to build on the city's strengths, and not the least of which is this great downtown, is this great institution we're in right now that preserves our past and preserves our unique story. And it's also the port that gave rise to you know, the dominant whaling enterprise in the 19th century. So it is very exciting for us. It is exciting for people of all ages, little kids, and especially some of the very older kids who were around when the Morgan left. Some of them have memories of going down to Colonel Green's and seeing the Morgan back in the 30s. There are plenty of people in our community left who have those memories, and I think it's going to be special for them as well. So I think I see it as the mayor as a way of making people feel good about their community, again, building community, civic strength, social capital. I see it as a way of generating, of introducing more people to New Bedford. the number of people who will come here, by every estimate, will be substantial. Estimates ranging from 5,000 a day and more. That will be it'll be an opportunity to introduce more people to New Bedford, or reintroduce them to a New Bedford that they may not have seen in a long time. So that's all good. I mean, those will be 50,000 evangelists who'll go back out and say, you know what, New Bedford really is a different place now. We do spend a lot of time and effort on rebranding the city, and we'll have those people to spread the word, but it'll also be a word through not just their own word, but through some of the media outlets that we're working with, a chance to get people to think about New Bedford in a different light, a more positive light. And it's times like these that, and when memories like these are created, that you can really build a brand around. So we're looking forward to doing that, and we're working hard as a city with the help of more than anyone, James Russell, to make sure that, as he put it, well, to stick the landing, to make sure that things are safe here, but also that people feel welcomed when they arrive here, so that they leave with a very good impression, a very good and accurate impression of our city. So with all that, there are many people to thank. We don't accomplish big things in our community through individual action. It's through good teamwork that it happens. And so many folks to thank before we present the checks. Let me thank, in absentia, our great friend Erwin Jacobs, who will be here next week, right? Is it next week? He'll be coming into town for the groundbreaking, among other things. And Erwin has been obviously a huge supporter of this institution and many other things that we're trying to do in the city. He agreed when I asked him to be the co-chair of the Morgan Committee. He didn't bat an eye about it. He's been supportive from the start. He recognizes the import of the event and has been there right along the way. So we'll get to thank him again next week when he's here, but it's appropriate to do that now. I thank Bob Unger and the Standard Times. Steve Urban is here from the Standard Times. The newspaper, and just for the record, I'm not trying to ingratiate myself with you guys, Steve, but the newspaper has stepped up in a really big way. Right from the start, Bob and Jack Spillane really, and Steve all together said, yeah, the newspaper has to be in the thick of this. The newspaper has to, as an obligation, right, they recognize the obligation that the newspaper has to promoting this kind of event without compromising the journalistic standards, and they've really stepped up in that way. Many other people to thank, Dagny, Christina, James Russell's been huge in all this, and as much as Mystic has stretched itself, and Mystic really has stretched itself in this fundraising effort, and I think it's going to be a great event. I hasten to add for Mystic, it really will be, because I think it's going to bring people back to Mystic from certainly this area, but also Boston, around the United States, who haven't been in some time. But it's also, it also has to be said that the Whaling Museum has really stretched itself too. You all compete for donors, and the efforts here are geared toward an event and not necessarily the museum. And so in that way, there is some capital, call it real capital, call it civic capital, however you want to label it, that the museum is investing in this effort. But James recognizes that this is a big part of the story that the museum tells, and he and his staff have really done a great job. Armin Fernandez, the chair of the board, they all recognize the importance of the event to the museum. Many others to thank, Senator Montigny, Representative Cabral, who represent this district, big supporters of historic preservation here and all things whaling in our city. Thank you to them for their support. And then we have great corporate citizens who've stepped up. You see the list here. Today we're recognizing three in particular. Two terrific banks, two banks that operate in the best tradition of local banks in America. Really, and I've said this before at events where they have demonstrated their largesse. Both Bay Coast and Bristol County Savings Bank recognize that good banking is built on trust. And in an era when large banking institutions are justifiably, in some cases, the target of scorn because of perceived breach of trust, especially in the wake of the financial crisis in 2008. We have, as an antidote to that, good old-fashioned local banks who know their depositors, know their borrowers well, run into those people in the grocery store and at the ball field and other places, and have that connection to them that isn't purely financial. So they really do make so much of what happens here go, those little things that they chip in with. So I just want to call up individually both of them, and then Nye Lubricants, of course, George Mott. Now, Nye Lubricants is sort of the quintessential legacy business from the whaling era. There aren't too many left, but Nye, more than any, is sort of an emblem of the whaling industry because it's still the oil business when you get right down to it. And in that way, there is sort of a coming full circle with Nye's connection to this event, and George has been hugely supportive all along the way. And George, we're so thankful for your generosity and your civic mindedness, and I think it's going to be great for Nye's brand, as it should be, but it's great for the city that Nye has grown up in for well over 100, 150, how many years? Lots, many years. 160 years to be precise. So thank you, George, for all of that, for that support. Now I don't know what you had in mind for the big checks, I don't know if we brought big pens to endorse the big checks too, or how that's going to work, James, but.
Well, I think this is where the folks from behind the scenes make the.
Oh, all right, good. Behind door number 1. All right, Allison.
And Barbara,
all right, so come on up. All right, so the first check is to, let's see, the James Russell Scholarship. Oh, no, sorry. This is the Bay Coast Bank. Paid to the order of Morgan Homecoming Steering Committee. All right, Nick Christ, where are you?
Okay, Nick.
All right, so I probably want to step out front here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You don't have any gift limit, do you?
No. We appreciate this great artist's work, and this will be hung in a prominent place in our boardroom. Could I just add one other thing? As this initiative was presented at the board for discussion, the clerk of the corporation said, you know, in his, guy by the name of Charles Reed is an attorney out of Swansea, said, I think I had a great uncle way back that was first made on the mortgage. Wow. So, I mean, it's a small world, really.
Great.
And did the Morgan ever sell any oil to Nye?
It's very likely that some of our raw material came in on the morning.
That's great.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Is that a check we can try to pass at Bay Coast Bank? Okay. All right, next up is First County Savings Bank. Where's Pat O'Connor? Pat Murray, excuse me. Pat Murray, come on up.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Thank you. So we're going to find a prominent place for this as well in one of our New Bedford offices, so we're looking forward to it. But maybe just a couple of things. What a great historical significance this is, bringing the Morgan back to Bedford. Bristol County Savings Bank has been around since 1846. I think I saw in the chart back there, the Morgan's maiden voyage was just 5 years earlier. So we missed the chance to finance it by 5 years. maybe you financed it, I'm not sure. But the historical significance is that we've been in Bedford now for just about 5 years. And every year we take our board of directors, much like I'm sure Nick does at Bay Coast, away for strategic planning. And back in 2011, we have to take them down into Rhode Island for strategic planning. We have a day with the board going over the financials and doing some strategies. And then we have a day of fun. But what we like to do is take the board out into some sort of cultural event that has some significance to the markets we work. And we were very lucky to visit Mystic Seaport and actually take a tour of the Morgan shortly after it was there. Now, to talk about dry dock, it wasn't even on dry dock. It was up on land, and it was on stilts. And when I looked at it, I go, ooh, boy, they've got a lot of work to do. We were able to take the tour, go inside and out of it, saw all the craftsmanship that was going into it, toured the stockyard, saw all the lumber that was going into it, and I cannot wait to see it sail into the department. And we are happy to help finance this portion of it. So, thank you very much.
Last but certainly not least is Nye Lubricants. George? All right. Floor is yours, George.
Oh, wow, thank you.
George, thank you again.
Thank you very much. This is wonderful. This will figure prominently right in the front foyer. This is for everyone at Nye. And this, being a sponsor for this great return was a no-brainer for us. I mean, our company is completely linked to the history of whaling, the whaling industry, the Morgan. As I said before, there was probably some oil that came in for us on that boat at some point. But just as importantly, as I look at the boat coming back and the glory it represents, I just have to say, business and manufacturing is alive and well in New Bedford, and to be tied to a boat that symbolizes the great past and the great presence of the city was easy for us. We're delighted to be part of it. And I hope it adds to the charm and the good things that are here.
Allison and Kaylee can come out from behind the curtain here. There was a second print. We gave the mayor, you'll notice that these are remarked here by Arthur and says number 1. Number 2 is going to Senator Montigny. And I just stepped over because I heard I've got an old-fashioned flip phone and it was buzzing. And he unfortunately couldn't make it here today to receive this. But just a point on the great seed funding that we received from the state. I think it was about a year ago or so, where Senator Montigny's efforts via Mass Office of Travel and Tourism was able to give us $50,000. And really that was the first shot in the arm to say, this is serious, take it seriously, and let's move forward. So we thank the Senator for his efforts there, and I know he's working to see what he can do in this year's budget too, and we're looking forward to that. Secondly, I'll just announce, if you don't mind, that the Whaling Museum has made a major decision in its banking relationships, and we too looked locally, and to play off your remarks, Mayor, we've chosen Bay Coast and Bristol County Savings Bank to be the banks of choice for the Whaling Museum. And not to let the cat out of the bag too soon, but everybody's invited here for a groundbreaking ceremony at 4 o'clock on Monday when George Mock is co-chairing that event, and we can announce that we've just broken the $6 million barrier on that in our campaign. So thanks, George. Okay, now I apologize if I miss some folks here, but I see Rosemary. Did I see you come in? Rosemary Gill, where are you? Rosemary, thank you for your, why don't we just hold on the applause here, but the Zeiterion is doing a wonderful work, and Rosemary, thanks very much for your financial support. I see Lee Blake and Carl Cruz from the New Bedford Historical Society. Thanks very much for your financial support. This is really fabulous. Jib Babbitt, thanks very much. Babbitt Steam coming in at the 10,000 level. Thanks very much for that support. Standard Times, as the mayor acknowledged, we greatly appreciate $20,000 in support from the Standard Times. The Convention and Visitors Bureau, which has been recently restructured, contributed $25,000. So I'll thank myself for that. Hawthorne Medical. Hi. Tell me your name.
Kathleen Murray.
Well, for goodness sake, Mike Murray's sister, Kathleen Murray, who we speak about on, who's come in at 10,000. Thanks very much for this, and we're looking forward to seeing that fireworks display. So good to see you, and say hi to Mike with his new position. Okay, so next up is to ask Chris to say a couple of words about whether the boat is going to get here or not.
Thank you, James. You're welcome. Oh, congratulations, everybody. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to come to New Bedford and to be in some, if not the original meetings, and to watch what happens. And the community here, this place feels great. It's the people coming here from Mystic have enjoyed it. The city's in pretty good shape, even that road down there. And the welcome is sincere, and it's genuine, and it's broad to broad audiences, and I won't go through all the names, but we turned the boat heading down river this morning. She's going to have 15 all-ocean square rig sailors on her. A skipper who owns the Victory Chimes, which is a little longer than she, a three-masted schooner, coast to main, no motor, also a National Historic Landmark. And they are as good a crew, a lot of them from Alyssa, a lot from the main world. And the crew is, they've got the feeling. The riggers are all going around, they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. And, men and women up everywhere, seizing, doing the things, but she will go down the river at the 940 bridge on Saturday morning, weather willing. Tricky what day to go, how to go, when to go. I think that the 38th voyage is appropriately named the spirit of American enterprise. I was amazed that 20% of the national economy was related to whale oil at once upon a time. The numbers of this experience is so staggering. Monday night, our PBS special aired and is going to be at 217 public television stations in May. And the money part, and New Bedford, and the Wing family, and the Morgan family, and the different families, and the people, and it's all still here. So we're looking forward to being here as much as you are of having us here. And it's been a celebration for us, and it's one of those grand, humbling moments when you see, she's quite grand and she's beautiful. And she's a rugged old 300-ton vessel. And she's elegant. And her rig, her sails, go to New London, there for almost 4 weeks, ballasting another 50 tons, sails on, crew training, in and out, a lot of show business. But when we get here, they will have learned the boat. They will be one with the boat. before we go to Cape Cod and Stellwagen and Boston and all the wonderful things. But just to say to you all, we're very pleased you're bringing she here. Thank you very much.
Okay, now Frank Barrows is here, by the way. Frank, thanks very much. We just received a terrific grant from the National Park Service for the Morgan. Thanks very much for engineering that, Frank, at the $10,000 level. Greatly appreciated. Let's take some photographs now. So what I'd like is everybody who's spoken to come forth, Mayor and Christina and Dagny and all the sponsor. I want to get a group sponsor, just maybe one person per institution if you don't mind. But if anybody has been a sponsor of the event, come forward. Let's get a group shot here. And Mayor, maybe you'll be in the middle of that.